What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. I know, it's starting to look a little different. If you're listening to the audio version, you won't notice a difference. Maybe the sound is a little bit different. But the video version, yeah, my backdrop changed. I used to have all kinds of stuff back there. Maybe you give me suggestions what to do with that backdrop. Anyway, it's your old pal KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. If you need DJ services, DJLittleRock.com. Today on the program, I have Levi Abney. Who's Levi Abney? You're going to get to know in the next few minutes, so stick around for that. This week's shows, let's see. Well, as we break out of this COVID-19 thing, I have a regular Friday night gig at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. That's right, your favorite place to be in the whole wide world, the Rab. They got the full bar, they got the kitchens open, they got pool tables. There's a pool tournament on Friday nights, so if you want to try to make some money on a Friday night, I encourage you to check out the Rab, the pool tournament. And you can also sing on stage right next to little old me. Now, we do have some precautions. You have to wear a mask on the way in and while you're walking around. But while you're sitting down having your drinky drinks and your food, you can take the mask down. See how that is? We'll protect each other during this COVID-19 thing. All right, party people. I think that's enough intro. I do have some weddings coming up. So if you have a wedding event coming up or any kind of event, like a corporate event, I'd like to do some more corporate events, birthday parties, anniversaries, that kind of thing. That's what I keep my Saturdays available for. So wedding season must be coming up. I'm excited. They're booking the weddings. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, now that's enough intro. Let's get into it with Levi Abney. Now, I did get Levi Abney on the Skype, so if you're listening to the audio version of this, I encourage you to check out the video version on my YouTube, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN, or just look up KeysDAN on YouTube. I know you're going to find 3 YouTube pages that say KeysDAN on them at least. Find the one with the Radio What logo on it, and that'll be me. And that's where I keep all my podcasts at. Yeah. All right. Let's get into it with Levi Abney. Skyping Levi Abney now. Look at that. It's Levi Abney.
How are you, man?
It's good. Can you turn your phone sideways? You'll fit into my broadcast software real nice.
I sure can.
Bam. There he is.
See, I'm just trying to get this thing to cooperate with me a little bit there.
Yeah, as soon as you set it steady, man, we get this thing going. Excellent.
Sounds good, man. How are you this evening?
Oh, it's fantastic, man. It's good to be alive. It's another wonderful day, a glorious day here in Arkansas. Man, we're Levi Abney. You're hanging out here. I'm KeysDAN. Good to know you. Virtual handshake, all that kind of thing. I guess nowadays it's fist bump. Virtual fist bump. But
virtual fist bump.
let's get some audio, let's get some video, let's find out more about you, Levi Abney. I mean, let the people know, if you were writing your own Wikipedia page, what would be the top 2 paragraphs? Who is a Levi Abney?
Oh, well, let's see. I don't even know what you'd call me. I was born in Louisiana. I lived there till I was about 9 and moved to South Mississippi. Lived there for about 10 years, and I've been living in Fort Payne, Alabama, for about 15 years now. So I'm a mixture of all of it.
Now, do you think
Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama? So I get messed with all the time about the way I talk.
That's exactly what I was going to go to, because as a broadcaster, they drilled that out of us. I'm from Miami, Florida, so really, people call me a Yankee from Miami. Because that's where all the New Yorkers, all the northern people end up retiring down in Miami, and that's further south than any of them. But now I'm in Arkansas, and I realize, oh, okay. I get it now. This is the South, not way down there in Florida. This is the South. Louisiana has their own kind of flavor. The foods. I love Louisiana. I almost married a girl from Louisiana. She's still teaching college in Baton Rouge. But
Oh, they know how to eat down there, don't they?
oh my
Ooh, boy.
gosh. Yeah, I was a skinny little guy before I got some Louisiana cooking in me. Some po' boys. I got addicted to po' boys. But no, I mean, they got their own flavor down there. And then you moving through Mississippi, the home of the king, Tupelo.
Oh, yeah,
That's where the king was
absolutely.
born. And then getting into Alabama, where race cars are born. Talladega. I mean, you've got all the Southern flavor. You got all the makings of a Southern man. But tell me how it flavored you, Levi Abney.
Well, I tell you what, it's just been I've always just been an avid outdoorsman and stuff like that. I love hunting, fishing, and the whole nine. And I got into music, believe it or not. My cousin Eddie Plaisance lives in Texas, and he's right there in the Houston area. And his whole life, he's been a karaoke DJ. Whole life, that's all he's ever done. And back when I was about, I guess, 12 or 13 years old, we did had a big family reunion. And I didn't get to see Eddie a whole lot because he lived a good ways from us. But, of course, he brought his system, and he karaoke in the whole night. Well, he put a microphone in my hand, and I sang a song, first time I'd ever sang a song in my life, and on a microphone in front of people especially. And that was it. I was hooked. That's all it took right there. And I was in it hardcore.
How old were you, and what song was it?
Oh, what was it? I'm Gonna Miss Her, Brad Paisley.
How long ago was that?
Oh man, that was shoot. I was about 12 years old, I guess, and I'm 36 now.
So what year?
I think right when that song had just had come out. It was all over the radio, but you heard it a couple times a day whenever that happened, and that was his first song hit my mind. And sure, I bet it was a train wreck, but it didn't matter to me. I loved it.
No, I remember the video for that was him fishing. And it was like a whole bunch of fishing in that video, if I remember right. Oh gosh,
Yeah, so
what year did that come
I haven't
out?
seen it in a long time
2001. 2001. Okay, so that's giving me a little timeline of where Levi Abney got his start, and thanks to your cousin, hey, I got into karaoke when I first, I had the karaoke stuff when I was in Miami, but I really didn't get into that until I moved to Arkansas in 2009. And then I kind of fell into it. So, yeah, I can appreciate that. And I do have some good singers that do come out. And if I get a person like Levi Abney, such as yourself, who's trying to break into the business, not particularly just do karaoke, but to actually make some kind of a living off of it, I really make a big deal out of it. And I hope your cousin did the same thing. Hey, this is Levi Abney. I think he's going to be somebody.
Yeah, he sure did. He's been one of my biggest supporters, that's for sure. I've been fortunate. I've got a big family across several states, and I got family all over from Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, the whole nine. And I'm so fortunate that they are so supportive. Yeah. And I couldn't ask for anything better, for sure. It's been a blessing to have a lot of opportunities because of that.
Well, it's nice to have a big family all across the South because in case you do become a touring musician, at least you got some blood that's going to help you along the way that you can kind of crash on their couches and what have you. Because, I've always thought family, they're the ones that are going to stick with you more often than not. Yes, you can have good friends, but your family, your blood, those are the people that usually are going to stick with you no matter what. But, okay, so 12 years old, you get the bug. You start singing, but when do you start playing? And, where do you go from there, Levi Abney?
Let's see. When I got to I did a little bit of the karaoke stuff and the karaoke DJ and all that in Mississippi, where I was from, around Picayune, Mississippi, matter of fact, and didn't really get much further than that into it back then. And when I moved to Fort Payne in, what was that, end of 05, beginning of 06, when I moved to Fort Payne. Lo and behold, to me, I've been an Alabama fan my entire life. The band Alabama, grew up listening to them, absolutely love them. Well, when I moved to Fort Payne, Alabama, the light bulb never went off that was where they're all from. And I actually, 2 weeks after living here in Fort Payne, Alabama, I went to a little place right up the road on the top of the mountain. Mm-hmm. It was a fish house, and they had a karaoke sign out. So I didn't know a soul up here, so I went and decided to sing a song. And ended up getting hired by the guy to start doing karaoke and stuff up here. And the first night that I was there, 1 week later, I was up there singing an Alabama song of all things, and in walks Jeff Cook. And I like to have to come apart. I know I stuttered and it looked like there's no telling on stage, but me and him actually become good friends. We sit there and talk, and the following day he took me fishing, and I've been fortunate enough to be great friends with old Jeff ever since I've been here now, so about 15 years, and you can't ask for a better guy. But he kind of steered me around a little bit, told me some of the do's and don'ts, some of the better ways to go, and let's see, I started singing a little bit more in bigger places, bigger public areas. And I did I'm sure you've heard the name John Stone. He's in Nashville. He's from Dogtown, Alabama, about 5 minutes where I live. And they're family friends. We were actually at a big Stone Rosa, his ranch, what he calls Stone Rosa, annual thing every year. And I sang a few songs. Well, unbeknownst to me, Mr. John Taylor, the guy who books all the talent for Tootsie's down the Broadway, Tootsie's and Honky Tonk Central and all that stuff in Nashville, he offered me a spot. And I got there and loved it. But that was when I realized, wait a minute, I need to learn how to play guitar, because at the time I didn't play anything.
Oh, okay.
And,
so who were you singing with? You were singing with like a backing track, or did you have a band that kind of, you just sang with whoever was there?
Yeah, well, they had a band on stage, just like a studio band. And for the first time I went there, it was like an audition, but there was people everywhere. I mean, it was like an audition in front of a live audience is basically what it was.
Yeah.
And boy, I was so nervous because I wasn't used to singing in front of a band. I used to singing tracks and stuff, but I pulled it off okay. But I stumbled just enough to let myself know, hey, I've got to figure out a guitar. So I've been playing guitar now for about 6 years, and that was when opportunities really opened up, when I was able to book my own acoustic shows and stuff like that.
So from 12 to 30, you're primarily a karaoke DJ, getting your chops. You got Jeff Cook, man. That's a good mentor for sure. If you're going to have anybody to talk to, you might as well be, the man from Alabama. I guess the founding member of Alabama. But you have him, and he's getting you all kinds of connections, going to backyard parties. And so when you're meeting up with all these folks, do you ever get to go into some studio time and maybe make some records, or were you just kind of dipping your toes in the water up till recently?
Yeah, at that time it was kind of just a day-to-dayer. I mean, I was still wasn't quite where I needed to be as far as trying to get too much. And then when I started picking up the guitar, I started playing back in Nashville again and booking some smaller venues, local, and things just outside of our local area. And the responses was good, and opportunities always seemed to come from everything I did. The more I did, the more opportunities seemed to pop up. And so that was just a really big plus. Jeff was just always a great friend for me there. He coached me a lot along the way, and just being friends with Jeff, you can imagine, and getting to run around with Jeff, I was able to meet a lot of people in the music world, and some of those contacts actually turned into be some of the best friends that I've come to know in music, and have opened a lot of doors for me. They really have.
Well, Levi Abney, this is primarily a learning podcast, and you're teaching people, be a nice guy, do things for people, and, things will come back to you. Some people call it karma. Some people call it just be a nice person and do things, man. And you befriended Jeff Cook. I don't suspect that you really wanted anything from him. It was just happenstance that you met the guy. And then here you are, you get some opportunities out of it. This is what I'm getting, this is what I'm getting from this conversation. And so 12 years old, you start singing. What else are you doing in school? I mean, were you going to school? This is by this time you were in Alabama, or was this, you said 9, you got out of
still in
Mississippi. 9, you left Louisiana, then you went to Mississippi. You're getting your formative years in Mississippi. So what kind of school life did you have? Did you at least, were you a creative person, or were you an analytical person? How was your school life back then?
Oh, I'd say definitely creative.
Okay.
The school I went to was Pearl River Central High School in Carrier, Mississippi, South Mississippi. wasn't too far from Louisiana. We was only about an hour or so from New Orleans. But you talk about two different worlds. It was definitely two different worlds there. But school was way different than it is today. That's for sure. I graduated in 2002 from high school, but my high school was. I'm trying to think of the country would be the number one word I could think of. I mean, we literally had meat cutting class in high school where people would bring it was a full meat processing plant. They'd bring us cows and hogs and we would shoot them, clean them, skin them, the whole nine, all the way to processed meat. They would come back and pick up. We were a full processing plant, and that was the class in school. So
wait a minute, I'm reading into this. I thought slavery was outlawed back in the 1860s. I think they were making the kids in school cut their meat. Hey, we just killed this deer. Why don't you go ahead and clean that up for us?
I tell you what, it was awesome. It really was. It was a vocational class in school, so it was an elective. Of course, I did it all 4 years I was in. I took that, and there was an agricultural science class where you actually worked the farm. They had the property on the backside of the campus, which was a full-blown garden, fish ponds, greenhouse, the whole nine. It teaches you basically all that stuff, and
wait, these are lines out of Country Boy Can't Survive. I could skin a buck. This is Country Boy Can Survive. This is not your real life, Levi Abney. Come on, you didn't work at a meat packing plant in your high school days.
You know what's ironic is it was actually recognized as like a credential. A good friend of mine, James Smith, actually left high school, went straight to Winn-Dixie and got a job in the meat department and worked there for over 20 years.
I worked in the meat department at Publix, man.
It's about roughly 20 years now.
Yeah, my stepdad worked at Winn-Dixie. I worked at Publix in the meat department, man. I didn't go to vocational school for it, though. It's funny.
Yeah, really, and that was just high school.
That was high school. Oh man, hey, that's a pretty interesting high school life, man. And how did the girls treat you? How did the girls treat you? Smelling like meat every day when you come out there?
Not, it was 50-50. There was about 50% of girls in the class as much as guys.
Okay, I'm thinking
it was country as it could get. That's for sure.
Okay, were these the more husky girls, or were there some cutie pies in there?
There were some cutie pie. Believe it or not, our homecoming queen was in that class all 4 years I was in it. And she was beautiful. Country as you could ever. I was more country than I was at the time, to be completely honest with you, but beautiful, beautiful girl for sure.
That's fantastic. And this is what molds a Levi Abney into a country music star, man. You get those life experiences, those flavors. Hey, did you start writing music? Are you a music writer as well?
I am. I actually started writing long before I started playing the guitar, and that was another reason that kind of lit a fire under my butt, made me want to get back, made me want to learn how to play guitar, because I was writing songs to a melody in my head, but I found that's really hard to explain that to an actual guitar player and try to get them to design a melody for those lyrics that's exactly what you had in your head. So that was just another one of the little minor frustrations along the way that made me say, hey, I got to get this guitar figured out.
Yeah, there's some hired guns, studio musicians that you can kind of hum a melody, maybe play a kazoo for them, and then they'll play it on a guitar. But as a country music, I didn't have too
much access to those type of guys, so it was definitely more on me than anything at that time.
Oh, it would definitely behoove you to, at least learn piano, learn some guitar, learn how to play something so you can actually translate that music that's in your head out to the world, man, and to let your band members, your fellow bandmates, know what you're talking about. You get to talk through your guitar. So, all right, when did you only started playing guitar 6 years ago. You're 36 years old. Yep. So before that, karaoke DJ the whole time, or do you have any Joe jobs up till then?
Yeah, well, no. I worked, and when I first moved up here to Alabama, for the first 2 years I was here, that's all I did. I just did karaoke, DJing, and 4 or 5 nights a week for almost 2 years. Then I got into working, and I worked at a place downtown that makes playground equipment called Game Time for about a year, and then I just kind of ping-ponged around with jobs. I never really stuck at one thing too long because it never failed that every time I was always doing the music on the side. And at that time, I was just taking what I could get, not being a guitar player. If there was a band that I knew that were playing, they would always tell me, hey, come out, man, we'll put you on stage. You can sing a few with us. And of course, I didn't miss any opportunities like that. And, that would be, I could honestly say that would probably be my best advice to anybody is any opportunity you get, take it. Because that's the smallest things that I thought were actually kind of silly that some of them I actually almost didn't even go do.
Yeah.
Turned out to be some of the biggest door openers that I ever had.
Yeah, my first DJ job back in 1986. Yes, I'm old. Was $50 to play a wedding. For $50. It cost me $75 to rent the equipment. But it was good experience. That one job got me so many other jobs. And once you be a nice guy, do your job, really research it, be worried about the job, always wanted to do your best, and you're going to go far, man. And you at 12 years old, man, that fateful day when your cousin puts that microphone in your hands and you sing that, I'm going to miss her. Wait, why am I singing? You're the singer around here. I'm a KJ myself from time to time, or I guess primarily now that I'm winding down in my old age. Karaoke DJ, Friday nights, you'll find me. But I don't sing.
That's a blast. I love it. I actually missed it.
Yeah, I don't sing. Every time I try to get out of it or think, well, maybe I'm getting too old for this. Maybe I should hang it up. No, it's too much fun. You're right. And if I could do that to where Friday nights I could be the karaoke guy, and then Saturday nights pull out a guitar or some kind of instrument of which I do not play. I have 3 guitars. I have a keyboard, full piano. I have harmonicas in the house. Cannot play. I play 3 chords here and there. But, I'm always in awe of people that have made themselves into musicians and that have put themselves out there like you, Levi Abney, as a working musician. 6 years ago, you pick up a guitar, after working. Oh wait, you said you ping-ponged around from a toy job. That was funny. I don't think you were trying to make a pun, but you said I was working at a toy factory. I ping-ponged around. Hey, you see, a little bit of a pun there.
Yeah.
Okay, but 6 years ago, you start learning how to play guitar. How does that come about?
That's a funny story in itself.
Please.
There, my mom and dad, like I said, they've always been my biggest support, and my wife. I've been married now. I married a Fort Payne girl shortly after I moved up here. We've been married pushing 14 years now. Fixing to be 14 years June. And between them and my parents, and not to mention the rest of the family, but especially those 3, mom, dad, my wife, Mindy, they just continue to push and always, are positively push and encourage me to keep going. And even, there's times along the way when you're trying to do what I'm doing that there's a lot of disappointments, there's stuff that you wish you had an opportunity to do, you don't get and stuff like that. So, but, when it comes to the guitar, I had talked about it. Well, my mom and dad's anniversary back those 6 years ago, they literally brought me to Guitar Center in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We walked in there in the big acoustic guitar room, and my mom and dad look at me and they say, hey, pick a guitar out. And I kind of was like, well, that's kind of odd for them to say, but okay. So I'll get there, and I couldn't play at the time. I knew 3 chords, but I couldn't even hardly strum them. So I had a buddy of mine with me that could play, coincidentally at that time. And we went through there, and I ended up holding a Taylor in my hand that I just fell in love with the sound of it when he was playing it. And my dad said, okay, go get a strap. Go get everything you got to have to go with it. So at this point, I'm kind of like, wait a minute, I think they're going to buy me a guitar. So I'm starting to get all excited. And they do. They bought me the guitar, the case, the tuner, the straps, everything I needed to go with the guitar. The whole 9, cables, cords, the whole thing. And we walk out the store, and when we get to the truck, my dad looks at me and my mom's standing there and says, here's the deal. You got 1 year to learn how to play this guitar. He said, in 1 year, I want you to sit down in front of me and play and sing at least 1 song. If you can do that, you can have the guitar. The guitar's yours. He said, if not, I get to have the guitar back, and I'm going to play it. My dad used to play a little bit when he was young. So that was all it took. 6 months. Literally 6 months later from that day, I sat down in front of my mom and dad in their living room and played 3 songs for them.
What were they?
And I played Old Habits, Hank Williams Jr. I played.
I just caught that video on your YouTube page of you playing Old Habits. Fantastic,
that was
man.
the first one I actually learned how to play on the guitar. The first song. I chose it because it was just 3 chords, not a whole lot to it. So that was the one I stuck with for the longest. But Old Habits, Hank Jr., and let's see, Riley Green, Running with an Angel, and The Dashboard by Chris Young. That was the 3 songs.
Hey, you picked some good ones. So what did your mom and dad say, especially your dad, who was really into this? What did they say?
Oh, they were blown away. They were blown away. Of course, they had seen me practicing a little bit here and there, so they knew I was coming along. But I had made a point not to get in front of them and try to play and sing or nothing. So when I did it for the first time, they were literally just blown away. And it was literally 6 months. And all I did was watch YouTube. I mean, I know a lot of guitar buddies. They kind of give me little pointers here and there, but YouTube was it for me. What I would do is pick a song that I really liked, go on YouTube and find either that artist or somebody doing a cover where I could see their hands and what they were doing on the guitar. And I'd start and stop, rewind, fast forward, back and forth, and just play it until I pieced it together. And once I got that part done, I just worked on singing it. And that's how, you believe it or not, I still learn songs like that today.
So not learning how to read music, not learning how to read tabs. You can't do tabs. You don't. It's by ear.
I play by ear.
I'm even more jealous of you now. My goodness, man, where you could pick up a song by ear and figure it out. And so that means you have all the phrasing that you need on that guitar where you can make it talk. You know, some people got to understand, you know, and me not being a musician, I talking to enough musicians, you know that you're just telling a story and you got to make sounds. Oh, okay, that sound, I can make it if I put my finger this way and that way. Then you have that ability, self-taught. Never had a lesson.
I didn't know I had it. I really didn't. I had no idea. And the more I got into the guitar, the more I started playing it, learning everything, the more I realized that I could pick out different sounds, and I kind of knew where to go, you know, to get the sound I was wanting. Now, I'm not a lead guitar player by no means. I play rhythm. I'm dabbling in the lead, but that takes a lot more time than just getting the rhythm down. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's get back into the family history, though. You say your dad played. I want to know if it's in the blood. How much did he play, or how much do you know about your dad playing back in the day when he was younger? What?
Well, what I know is my uncle. I think it was my uncle Albert. Of course, they were before my time, so they had a band, and I used to play on a little bar that was just right up the road in Louisiana from where they lived. And my dad would go up there and grab one of their guitars and sit in the back of the stage and play along with them. Well, they taught him some chords, and he got where he could play a pretty good rhythm enough to where they actually let him sit in and play certain songs at certain times. And he was just a boy. I mean, I think he said he was 7 or 8 years old at the time. And but he never really aspired to keep going with it. Yeah, he loves music and all that, but I don't guess it got underneath him in his blood like it did mine. Yeah. But
so what kind of work did your dad end up doing, or what did you learn from him?
Well, my dad was actually in the oil field. You know, South Louisiana, Texas, South Mississippi. If you live down in that area, most guys, I'd say 80% of men are going to be in the oil field to some degree. And that's what my whole family, all the men in my side of the family, the Abney side of the family, almost all of them were in the oil field at one time or another. I seen just enough of it growing up to know I didn't want nothing to do with that.
No, it's hard work. There's good money for the young guys that go out there. They can make a lot of money, but it's hard work. You might come back with a couple fingers missing, you know?
Yeah, it's tough. I did do it. Now, I did have my share of it, but it's a tough life, but you can make a really, really great living at it. That's for sure. It pays really well. But the more I was out there, the more I realized I want to be doing music. You know,
oh yeah,
it had me. And I'm a people person. I love people. I love meeting new people, and that's probably one of the most rewarding things of being in music and being able to be on stage and even like what you do with the karaoke and stuff like that and DJing, that was the best. That was the highlights of that to me, was just getting to make other people happy with music, whether I was singing it or not,
Yeah, I mean, you get to interact with people, you get to talk, and you're the guy. You're the guy in charge of the entertainment. People are there. They're there to have a few drinks and have a good time, but you are part of it, man. And I'm a married man myself. Let me tell you, I come home after a show, maybe 100 people, maybe 300 people, maybe 1,000 people in front of me. And the biggest show, 70,000 people in front of me said, "Wow, you did a great job. Wow, that was fantastic. How many people patting you on the back?" And then I come home, "Hey, take out the garbage."
Oh yeah, reality.
Honey,
you get right back to reality. That high from all that don't last very long.
Well, that's what they do, man.
Not till the next time, but it's so worth it. I mean, I know that feeling, and it's addicting. That feeling alone is addicting. And the more I got into music and singing, I was always singing. When I did the DJing and karaoke stuff, I sang all the time, every chance I could. And ironically enough, my family still do. Almost every single weekend when we're all in town, we get together at my parents' place. They've got a studio. We've got a studio, music studio. Matter of fact, my 2 songs are out on the radio right now were recorded there.
Your parents?
And what's that?
Your parents have a music studio?
Yeah. They built it on kind of me. It actually, at one time was a carport. It was a 2-car carport with a big garage and shed on one side. And we closed the whole thing in probably 12 years ago now, and turned it into a music studio. And my whole family are karaoke junkies. I'm the one. Between me and my cousin Edward in Texas that got me started. We've kind of just rubbed off on everybody. So we don't have a family get together where there's not music, where everybody sings. Everybody takes a turn, big old dry erase board with everybody's name on it. Everybody takes a turn singing, and just be all day endeavors every time. Man, I don't think we could ever get together without music.
Abney family reunion's got to be the most fun. My goodness.
Oh, nice.
Well, okay. That is a doting family. That is a mom and dad that loves you, that supports you, that built that, because of your love for it. They love it now. Are you an only child?
No, I've got a sister. I've got a younger sister. She's a year and a half younger than me. She lives in South Mississippi still.
And what did she end up doing? Is she in the music biz? Is she doing what? How is she doing?
No, she's probably one of the hardest ones in the bunch to get her to grab a microphone at a big family get together and stuff like that. But she usually will after the refreshments kick in. But other than that, it's hard to get her to sing. But she's doing really well. She's got a career in insurance. I think it's State Farm Insurance she works for now, and 3 kids, and she's doing fantastic. But she's not like me. She doesn't like the spotlight, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, State Farm Insurance takes care of me, that's for sure. I just bought a house, so you got to have insurance, man. That's excellent. Absolutely. And they take care of you, man. That's good. Well, I mean, okay, we didn't go through what does mom do? Did she work outside of the house, or she stay at home mom?
She was a stay-at-home mom until me and my sister were both in our 20s. Dad always did the work. Mom always was home. So when we got out of school and we didn't even ride the bus. We rode it off and on a few years, but I hated riding the bus myself because I was ready to get home so I could go play and go do what I wanted to go do, And so Mom would actually come pick us up from school and drop us off, so we didn't have to spend all that extra time on the bus. And we'd get home and she'd have supper cooked and make us do our homework. Then we could go do whatever we wanted to go do. And till we were in our 20s, and then she decided, I'm bored. I want something to do. So she went to work, and now she's a vice president of the company she works for now. And she's not even been there but a handful of years, and she works in Trenton, Georgia, and she loves it. Absolutely loves it.
Well, call me old-fashioned, but I think that's so beneficial to the kids. I work 2, 3, 4 jobs so I can keep my wife at home, and she homeschools the kid. I think that's so beneficial, man. And I told her when she got pregnant and she got too pregnant to work, that's it. You don't have to work anymore unless you want to. And I ask her every year, hey, are you okay? Do you want to work? Nope. I got the best job in the world, stay-at-home mom. So give it up to the moms. But tell me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't imagine it having been any other way, honestly. It was great to have mom home all the time, because dad was gone a lot. He was home most every day by night, but it was a long day, 12, 14, 16-hour days. So he was working hard to make sure that she could stay there with us. We never wanted for nothing, that's for sure.
And you appreciate dad still, because he did work so hard. And me, I won't get home until late, and I'll see my kid and give her a kiss on the head, and she'll say, "Dad, I'm 15. I don't want to get a kiss on the head," because they don't like you around this time. Hey, do you have any kids?
No, do not. I do not have any kids. Me and my wife actually tried when we first got married for a while, and just wasn't in the cards. And she had she ended up having to have a partial hysterectomy early due to other issues, and so that just kind of made that go away. So, but honestly, I figured we'd look at it like, I guess it was a blessing in disguise, with the music, and we do a lot of traveling, a lot of things we love to do that we wouldn't have been able to do. I guess life's kind of just turned us into that. So no regrets there, no nothing like that. But
no, when you first started telling the story, when you first started telling the story that you tried, my mom used to say, "Hey, when are you going to give me some grandkids?" And I would always say, "Oh, me and the wife tried 4 times last night."
Sounds like something I'm saying.
And I'm sorry I asked.
That's my response right there.
But no, okay. So wait, so that leads me to believe the wife is in the music biz with you, or she's kind of cheerleads for you?
Oh, she's definitely a cheerleader. She's behind me every step of the way. It doesn't matter what I do or what I want to go do. She's always got me 100%. I couldn't ask for anything more than that, honestly. And she works. She works at runs an office here in our local town that does heating and cooling stuff. She's been there for a good little while now. She really likes it, and of course, she wants me to make it bigger in the music so she can quit that. And I want nothing more than that myself. But
absolutely, man.
Right now, everything is kind of going really good. I do construction by trade. That's kind of my thing. I build houses and pretty much anything to do with that. So when I'm not in music or doing something to do with music, that's what I do on the side.
See, and that informs country music, man. That informs, music, just that life experience, building houses for people, working with your hands. I appreciate that so much. And you got to feel good when you put a house together and you say, "Hey, somebody's going to live here, man." Or you put, what are you like, home construction or remodeling? What kind of construction?
Actually, I did a little bit of all of it. Now I just kind of do remodels, and I haven't taken on any huge projects lately because of the music stuff. But as little as 2 years ago, I built a good friend of mine, actually. Me and him built his entire home in 6 months. And it's really rewarding to see something every day it changes as you build it. And to see the finished product, then move in a really nice house, and knowing we personally did it together, that was an awesome experience.
Man,
sure was.
My stepdad, Johnny, he is the guy that can work with his hands. He built a stilt home down in the Florida Keys for my mom. And I remember, busting the pilings with a sledgehammer, just like a couple days here and there. But he would do it day in, day out, keeping a full-time job. He's working at the airlines, and he'd come home, building a house, CBS house on stilts. I think it was concrete on the first floor, and then he had wood on the second floor. Amazing! It's amazing when you build something. I mean, did you? I
did the commercial stuff. I actually got a job. When was that? Around 2007 or so, somewhere in that neighborhood. I took a job with a general construction company in Fife, Alabama, called Fife Construction. And I was actually the assistant superintendent at 26 years old, somewhere in that neighborhood. So that was a big feat, to be 26 years old, and everybody that worked for me and under me were obviously older than me, seasoned their whole life, so, but I was a little bit up to speed, I guess, on the blueprints and the paperwork side of it, as well as the hands-on. So, but that was a fun experience. I did that for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And there again, just kind of realized it was just eating up all of my time. And I was making a good living at it. And but I couldn't have time to do the things I wanted to do. Like even a hobby like music or anything. I couldn't do much of nothing, hunting, fishing, golfing, nothing. I didn't have time for anything. So I made a change again, around that time. And all I can say is it's definitely give and take with the music. I mean, you definitely have to have something going on the side, especially right now today with the COVID and everything else going on. So if it wasn't for that little stuff on the side, I wouldn't be able to be doing what I'm doing now. But I've been really fortunate. That's for sure. Really fortunate.
Well, that informs to your personality, Levi Abney, is whatever you do, you excel at it. You weren't just a guy in construction. Yes, you could build a house, but you were also the guy that could handle the business side of it, the paperwork side of it, the handling of different a group of guys and making sure that everybody is in straight doing the jobs they want to do. You excel at your jobs. But, you also gave another piece of advice. Have a day job. Have an insurance job, something steady. It may not pay as much as that, those DJ jobs, maybe 5 nights a week. You're making some good money if you work it right, but you have a steady job because most musicians when they're starting out don't have insurance, don't have that good State Farm insurance or any health insurance, health benefits. You got to have a job that offers that.
Absolutely. I forgot real quick. I didn't want to have to pay insurance and stuff out of pocket. It's almost impossible to pay for that out of pocket. When you don't have a job that gives you that. You still pay for it, but you don't pay as much. So that was definitely a eye opener back then to try to make sure I kept a job with insurance and stuff like that. And it just, of course, there's a lot of times I didn't have that, but honestly, it was just my dad's biggest thing growing up. He always said I was never allowed to say the word I can't. If that ever come out of my mouth, he'd give me that look and say, "You can't hardly," is what you meant to say, right? There's no such thing as you can't. You can't hardly. You can do anything if you want it bad enough. And from the time I was a little boy, he's always told me that. And honestly, I can say that that's the truth. If you determine, you can do anything you want to. And I'm so scatterbrained, it's hard for me to make myself sit still and do anything. But if I can sit there and learn how to play the guitar in 6 months, anybody can do it. I promise you, anybody can do it if I can.
That's a creative personality, man. A lot of times you're thinking in many different directions, and you got ideas in your head, and you got to have somebody that can maybe direct those ideas. Okay, you have this good relationship. You've been married for 14 years. What have you gotten from the wife? And I know we were poking a little bit fun. I poked the fun. I said she tells you to take out the garbage when you come back from this show where everybody said you're a star. But what have you learned from that relationship of 14 years about each other, and how has she helped you achieve your dreams, and you've in turn achieved hers?
Well, honestly, it's just she's one of the most understanding people I've ever met. Easygoing. And like me, I'm a spur of the moment kind of person. I'm terrible at plans. I'm terrible to schedule something for the weekend or this or that. Because by the time that day gets there, I'm like, well, I don't even feel like doing that today. I'd rather go do this, or I heard about such and such having a hoedown over here. I want to go play some music over there. So I hardly even make plans. Rarely do I even make plans other than music. Obviously, you kind of have to with dates and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm a spur of the moment. And that was one of the things that me and her clicked with so early on is she just kind of down for anything. And we love all the same stuff. So like the music scene, the fishing, the camping, whatever, just going out to friends and having a big bonfire and a gathering and stuff like that. Everything I love, she loves equally. And if she comes up with a plan, it's always something I'm into too. So I'm like, oh yeah, shoot, let's go. And vice versa. So that was one of the things that made us click so much early, and just almost identical personalities when it comes to stuff like that.
Excellent.
When it comes to the music, she loves it. She loves the music. She's really supportive of me, and she hardly misses a show. If I'm doing the show, if she can't make it for whatever reason, it drives her crazy. She wants pictures and the whole nine, and calling people to find out, hey, send me some video, do this and that, and how'd it go, and everything like that. But like you said, though, when you get back home, reality hits. Hey, why you bring that load of laundry back over here? Or, pick that basket up, take the garbage out, make some tea.
That sounds like a good relationship, man.
Make tea this time,
All right,
But
well,
I wouldn't trade it for nothing.
Well, let's explore. Going back into the music. Once you played those 3 songs for your mom and dad, where did it go from there? I mean, were you saying, "Well, let me go to the local club and start playing"? No, where did Levi Abney music go from that direction when you played those 3 songs for mom and dad?
Well, like at that time, as soon as I kind of broke that out, like I said, we have literally nearly every weekend. If I'm in town, if everybody's in town, we get together at our studio. It's got a big old guitar. I wish I had a picture of it to show you. It's got a big old guitar on the front of the building, and we call it G-String Studio. And it is literally the party pad. That's everybody that we know. Saturday, this past Saturday, as a matter of fact, I bet we had 30 people in there, family and friends from all over the area, from this mountain, the other mountain down in the valley. They all come over, and we sang all day, cooked, throwed some darts, played cornhole, and sang. And but that studio, the G-String Studio, around the time of the guitar, when my parents realized just how serious I was about it, how passionate I was. Mm-hmm. At that time, they decided to make sure that I had every avenue, every tool that they could possibly offer to me, that way I didn't miss out on any opportunity. I could capitalize on anything I wanted to do. So the next thing you know, they furnished the studio with the best of equipment that you could buy. I mean, way overkill, truthfully, for the studio itself. But I actually had the equipment when I needed to be able to go play a show, when I had my first show and everything. And I'd hate to even know the money that they put in that stuff, between all the speakers and the soundboards and then the recording software and all those computers. And it's a kind of mind-boggling when I think about how much it all is there. But because of that, it made all the opportunities when they came to me a possibility. It was there. And I'm not saying it's a necessity, but it was definitely a big help. Big help.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Yes, okay. Now, your dad made some dough in the oil business. I guess he did pretty good for himself, but he's pouring all that into you, man. That's what we want for our kids, is to make them better, make them the best they can be. And he sees that you have some kind of an aptitude for playing music, and he wants you to explore that avenue. But if I had the best studio in the world, I don't know if I could be a recording engineer. Do you feel like you have the ear to record yourself and to mix it down and master it?
The ear, yeah, I'll say kind of like that. I mean, I can hear what I want, what I think, and what needs to happen in most cases. But like, those programs are super complex. I figured out really fast why a lot of people go to school for 2 to 4 years to learn how to be a sound engineer. Yeah. Not necessarily get taught the ear, but to be taught how to utilize the tools within them programs. They're extremely complicated, but the ear part is just being able to hear it. I'm just extremely fortunate to have had that naturally, like timing, the metronome stuff. I've never even had to use a metronome, where a lot of people do, especially starting out, to help keep time. And it just always just clicked. That part was just there for me.
Yeah, I imagine. You can record a demo. I can record a demo for you, no problem. I have the equipment sitting here in front of me where I can record somebody, playing a guitar, singing into a mic. I have all that ability. But to actually be a producer where you can have different tracks, let's bring up that drum bass a little bit. Hey, let's turn down the guitar. Okay, let's bring up that singer. And let's turn the knob. To do all that. Yeah, I went to a little bit of school for broadcasting, and they had that, Pro Tools and Cool Edit. In fact, I'm using Adobe Audition for the audio version of this podcast, and then I'm using XSplit for the video version of the podcast. And some of that I learned back in school, but man, to record yourself on the best equipment money could buy, I commend your mom and dad for letting you follow your dreams, and I commend you for sticking with it, man, for actually doing it. Your dad give you a guitar and says, play this. or I'm taking it back.
Yeah. Yeah. That was all the fire I needed. That was for sure. Because I knew my dad. My dad, when he says something, he means it. So I knew he was. I told him right there. I said, "You ain't getting this guitar back."
Well, and that's the other thing.
And I did. I did it half the time he gave me. So
I've been in a similar room.
Like
I've been in a similar room in Guitar Center where they do have, all these guitars. And once again, I'm not the best musician, but I do know there's two names in acoustic guitar, and that's Martin and Taylor. And you picked out a Taylor. I'm sure that cost a little bit of money for that Taylor.
Yeah, it was one of the most expensive ones in that room at that time. And that was completely unintentional. At that moment, I knew something was a little fishy, but I didn't expect them to buy me a guitar like that, especially just whatever one I picked up. But which was, like I said, I was extremely, extremely blessed. Not only to have parents with the ability to do that. I'm sure a lot of parents want to do stuff like that, but just the fact that they would and did, that alone is just an extreme blessing to me. But Taylor, I'm a Taylor fanatic. I love Taylor guitars. I've actually got my first Martin. I got it sitting right here beside me. Actually, I've had.
Well, pick it up and show it to the people. You don't have to play it, but you can show it to the people. There it is. Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's like a rustic, solid mahogany guitar, and it's especially if anybody that are really big into guitars are listening. Taylors are known for their ring. Martin's known for that just awesome mid tone they got, that mellow tone. Well, Martin's, I always like the ring of a Taylor, but Martin's come a long way. They got a new guitar now that's called a Streetmaster Grand Professional, which is equivalent to a Taylor's Grand Auditorium, which is what this is. It's got a bowed back. Martin's never having a bowed back. Taylor's do. This one, they put a bowed back, so you get both. You get the ring and the mid-tone. So when I played it, not only I just fell in love with the look of it right off the bat. As soon as I seen it, I loved that rustic look and it being brand new. But when I strummed it, that was it. I had to have it.
Man, but okay, another fateful day is picking up that Taylor. And did you look at the price tag, or did you just? But who picked up that Taylor for you? And just said, "Oh yeah, that's the one." Was it your buddy that could play guitar? Did he say, "Here, try this one"?
Yeah, well, he is a Martin fanatic, and we played all the Martins, and he said, "Well, let's play these Taylors too." And I said, "Well, absolutely." I always knew a Taylor was just. It's like I wanted a Taylor before I even knew why I wanted a Taylor. And of course, he started playing through the Taylors. And it's so ironic when you get into music, you could be two different guitars sitting side by side, but be identical, exact same guitar. And each one of them will sound different. They'll have a different sound, even though they're same exact serial number, same guitar, same everything. They'll sound different. And at that time, I could hear the difference, but I couldn't play. Well, after every guitar we went through, I think we played every Taylor and Martin they had in the room. That was the guitar that me and him looked at one another and said, "This is the one." And I was like, "Yeah, this is definitely the guitar." And that was when I looked at the price tag and I was like, "Ooh." I kind of looked at my dad and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I like this one a lot." He just kind of grinned. He said, "Well, go get this and this and that." He said, "Hang it back up, go get this and that." Well, by the time I got that, he done had the sales rep come get it, and they were getting it ready to leave already to be bought and paid for. And so I was, that was probably one of the best days of my life as far as music. I can tell you that. I wanted to sleep beside that guitar. I didn't even know how to play it yet, but I didn't want to turn it loose.
No, that's a fateful day right there. 12 years old and 30 years old. These are fateful times in Levi Abney music career. Where you're going, your trajectory, and you're still a young man. Shoot, you got plenty of time to do plenty of things. So you started playing with some of these bands that you were getting to know. Who were some of the people in the bands? You can give shout outs to the people that have helped you along.
Yeah, well, believe it or not, Mr. Mike Martin and his son Mason Martin were two good friends of mine. His dad, Mason's my age, about 2 or 3 years younger. His Mike's probably pushing 60 by now, but me and him always clicked. He was real big into music. We were fishing buddies. I forget even how we were running across one another, but or how we actually met. But we used to fish and stuff like that. And I'd go sit at his house. He lived right down the road. I'd go sit at his house and just listen to him pick the guitar. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And when I had my guitar, he was showing me some different chords and stuff like that, and showing me little tricks to kind of get started, with the strumming and all that good stuff. And me and him hit it off. Well, his son Mason was playing since he was 5 or 6 years old. And by the time Mason was, 18, he not just play a guitar, he could shred the guitar, and still can to this day. He's phenomenal. So, but as I was coming along and getting better and better and better, I was able to play along with them, and then got to where I could play in my own songs, and they would play along with me. And the more I did stuff like that, the more I was like, hey, this is cool. This is where I want. This is it right here for me. This is what I want to do. And bands took me forever to try to put a band together. Finally did. That's hard to do. That's really hard to do, especially nowadays. Everybody's got their own life. It's hard to get 5, 6 guys together that can put the time in to practice, and amongst everybody having jobs and their own families, and in the travel to go do shows. That was a tricky deal to finally work out. And of course, that particular band I don't have no more. Life, a kid, one of them had a baby, and the other ones had to move to be closer to family, and so that's definitely tough. I can tell you right now, anybody that listens to this or is listening now, I can tell you, if you're looking to put a band together, do not get discouraged if you can't make that happen. Just keep doing you. Learn your instrument, or just sing. Even if you don't play, just stay with that 100%. The rest will kind of fall into place. If it's meant to be, it will happen for you. That's for sure.
You're giving people gems, Levi Abney. I mean, just the life of a traveling musician. You got to give up a lot of things, a lot of family. You got to give up your home life to go out on the road. Yes, you could probably go the trajectory and become a star and make some fortune, make some fame. But you got to give up a lot to do that, and you're fortunate to have a wife that's sticking with you, and even your mom and dad that have pushed you along to get where you are. All right, so where are you now? You say you have a couple of songs that have been playing on the radio. When did you start recording those songs and putting stuff down? And how many tracks do you have out now, Levi Abney? How do they get made?
Well, actually, the first song that I released was a song that me and Mike Martin, my buddy Mike Martin, I was telling you about, wrote, and it's called Country to His Soul. And actually, I wrote it, about 90% of the lyrics. Mike helped me kind of tie it together. But at that moment, this was before I had a guitar. This was before I was playing. So me and him got together, and he played the melody to it. And we recorded it at a friend of ours, Nick Fike, down in Fort Payne, Alabama, down in the valley, had a studio in a bedroom of his house. And we went there and recorded it. I sat there and they did the whole thing, got the track ready. Then I sang the vocal across it. And I was beyond tickled. I had it on a CD forever. And it was years. I wouldn't even know how to tell you. It had to be 8, maybe 10 years later before I ever had a chance to do anything with that track. Before I got far enough into music where somebody actually asked me that could play my music, hey, what do you have? You got something recorded? And I was like, well, I got this one. And I'd been writing, but I hadn't had put music to anything else. And a good friend of mine, Rick and Sonia Herdina, his wife, Sonia, kind of took me under her wing. She's really good with advertising and stuff. Mm-hmm. So she said, hey, look, I'm going to get this out there for you. And she did. And she put it on Reverb Nation. And it went I think it was 5 or 6 days. And Reverb Nation, it went to #1 and stayed there for a solid month. And she put it on a couple of other indie charts and, the off charts, not the label charts, but stuff like that. It's #1 on every chart it was put on, which just blew me away.
Yeah, you got to feel good.
And that just kind of took off after that. And then the recording stuff, the program, I can hear it, but the programs are complicated.
Right.
So at least the one I got, we used Logic Pro X for the editing and stuff like that. And I'm not very fluent with that. So a friend of mine that I met at Guitar Center in Chattanooga, Bradley, he came home. He just came to my home, or to the studio actually, and he had just graduated school for sound engineering. Lo and behold, just small talking conversation, we found that out. And I said, "Man, would you be willing to come to Fort Payne to our studio and help me record a song?" He did. So the next song we did wasn't a song I wrote. It was one that some songwriters in Nashville that I had met, J.D. Edge and Corey Lee Barker, had wrote, called "You Do Me Like the Whiskey Does." Recorded it that day and released it. And it did the same exact thing. It hit Reverb Nation and went straight to #1. And it didn't hit #1 on the other charts, but it did get in the top 10 on all the other charts. And which you talk about put a fire under your butt.
Yes.
It just makes you just drive that much harder.
That means you're heading in the right direction. You doing the right thing. That means whatever you're like, I don't know, maybe I can do this thing. And the response comes back, and yeah, you could do this thing. That's fantastic, man. Levi Abney, that's got to make you feel good. And here, we were alluding to that before. Yes, I can record a demo, but it sounds like you got some people in your corner that you've met along the way, and a lot of good musicians and a lot of good sound engineers. They work at guitar shops, not just Guitar Center, the big one, but also your little mom and pop shops. Those guys, a lot of them are into music in one way or another. That's the reason they work there. And you sounds like you've met somebody with a good ear that can listen to you record your music and mix and master it down. Because after we're done with this podcast, I know how to mix up audio, but to mix up, to mix up vocal, voice for a podcast, but to mix up music, man, that's a whole nother animal. To get it
Absolutely.
Right.
And I worked when I told you when I first moved here, I met Jeff Cook pretty quick, and we literally got to sit down and drink a beer with him and eat hot wings the night I met him, which you can imagine how beside myself I was, you know, because I'm just an old country boy, and here I am sitting down with Alabama's lead guitar fiddle player I've watched since I was a baby, on TV, and so I was just kind of starstruck, but. Wound up taking me fishing and all that stuff. Well, it wasn't long later, he offered me, he has literally a castle, for a home in Fort Payne, Alabama on Lookout Mountain where I live. And he offered me to go to work for him and just do a little bit of everything from carpentry type work to working events. They have big events up there and weddings and tours for the castle and Christmas stuff, all kind of stuff. And I actually worked for Jeff and his wife, Lisa Cook, for right around 5 years. And in meeting them, Jeff, I got to meet a lot of other people like Chemo Forrest, amazing guy. He was Alabama's lead guitar player. He's now the lead singer of Cash Creek Band in Nashville. He's got his own recording studio in Nashville. I mean, this guy's doing big things, always has. He's one of the best in the business. And luckily, another blessing to me to be able to befriend him and me and him be as close friends as we are. And matter of fact, I was just talking to him last week, and I went and did a little show with them at Liverly Stables in Nashville 2 weeks ago. And it was a Cash Creek Band and Megan Mullins, which is an insanely talented fiddle player and singer. She plays with Randy Owens and a few other big people. And R.T. Johnson out of North Carolina. And just great to get to hang out and meet those guys. Of course, they're up here, and I'm still just old country boy just trying to make it in the bushes at the bottom of the tree. But just being around them, it's just so awesome. They're so supportive, such good people. Well, Chemo is actually going to record those new songs I've gotten now. I've got preparing to release a song called Moonshine, another song, Rebellious, another song called USA. I actually got 26 songs right now that I'm itching to get out. But because of my lack of ability with the program we've got in studio, I sought Chemo's help. And Chemo said, look, come to Nashville. I'll take care of you in my studio. We'll get you set up. So that's where I'm going to be headed here I guess the next week or two, he's a busy man. So as soon as his schedule allows it, I'm going to be getting with him and hopefully have something new to turn loose of really quick.
Well, it sounds like Nashville's the place that everybody ought to be if they're trying to make music. That is the place. I mean, I'm glad you got your little studio there. I'm glad you found the dude at Guitar Center that's helping you out, and I'm glad that you've given shout outs to the people that have helped you along the way, because Levi Abney music is not just Levi Abney. There's a whole team of people around you that are helping you put this stuff out, putting that melody that's in your head, getting it out there to the world so people can enjoy it. Now, you did just start your Levi Abney Music YouTube, and I remember I was looking at the first YouTube video, and it said, I'm going to try to put one of these out every week. And how'd that go?
That didn't last. I think I got 5 or 6 videos on there, and I haven't got another one on there. And Lord have mercy, I've got so much friends giving me grief over that. Like, what happened to this once a week thing? I think that's been 2 years ago. But I've been determined to get back on that. But I told my wife Mindy, I said, when I start this back up this time, I don't care what I'm doing, where I'm at, I'm gonna keep it every week.
Yeah.
And I kind of hit a lull there where I didn't really have the material that I was wanting. And I guess that was kind of why I kind of withdrew from that. And I was doing a lot of other things that was getting exposure. So I kind of left that alone. And I can honestly say I regret that to a degree, because anybody right now that's listening or hears this later that's starting out, that is I would say the number one tip I could give anybody. Use the social media platforms, use YouTube, use Facebook Live, use all that stuff. The more you put out there about yourself, the more people get to learn about you, and the more people like you. And when people like you, they help you. And Rodney McDowell said it best at years back at Tootsie's 50th anniversary. I got to talk to Mr. Rodney McDowell, and he said, buddy, and he had just enough time between the two of us letting him know I was in music, trying to get going, And he said, look, he said, this business, you got to have help. He said, no matter what, you got to have help. He said, have you ever seen a turtle on top of a fence post? And I kind of looked at him funny. And he said, if you did, you can bet he had help getting there. And that was his analogy. I got tickled when I thought about it. But he said, if you make it to the top in this business, you didn't do it alone. There were people in your corner helping you. And that is 100% best advice that I've ever heard, because it takes other people. And that's my blessing, is getting around and meeting people that actually have the ability to help, the desire to help. And so I owe everything that I've got going on right now to an extremely loving, supportive family, wife, and in all the family friends that I've made that are like pretty much my family now along the way, to get where I'm at, and what opportunities I have in front of me now is 100% everybody else, not myself,
Well, as since you mentioned your social media and your online presence, while we're winding this thing down, I've taken some of your time. I've learned a little bit about you. The people have learned a little bit about you. How do we find you online? How do you want people to connect with you?
Well, I've got a website, which I actually was just working on the other day to put some new stuff on there. Like I say, I'm a big techie person. I know I do it most of the time, but I ain't big into it. So it's hard for me to make myself sit down and do it. But the other day I was updating. I've got a website. It's www.leviabneymusic.com. There's some tracks on there now. The two stuff are that have been on the radio, our local stations. They played on radio in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, and here in Alabama. I hope to get them further out than that one day, but that's available on there. You said I do have my YouTube channel, Levi Abney Music on YouTube. I'm 100% hold me to it. I'm going to be back on that thing. I've put about 6 or 7 videos on there, but it's been a while. And that was actually before most of what I've got going on now even took off. So and now more than ever, I really need to get back on that. But that's another way to find me. And I need to check the status, but it was available on iTunes, Amazon Music, and Spotify. But I know if you don't do something with it every so often, it kind of lapses until you put something new out. So I'm not sure if that's still there or not, but be worth checking out.
Well, I got your let's see, your Instagram, your YouTube, your Facebook. I'll make sure that I put that all in the show notes so people know where to find you. And then I think there's a Reverb Nation out there as well, and artistpr.com. Hey, speaking of artist PR, I mean, the whole reason we're chit-chatting, I mean, and I'm glad for her, is Jana Johnson put us together. What is Jana Johnson doing for you?
I was looking for an opportunity to bring her back. That lady is just amazing. She's one of the people you meet along the way. As soon as you meet them, you get to talking to them, you just fall in love with. She's got the greatest personality, and I don't think I've ever seen nobody likes music as much as her. And I love music, you know. But I got to meet her through Jeff and Lisa Cook, as a matter of fact, working at the Castle. And that's how I met her, because she's real big with Alabama, and an Alabama fan club member. And she's really big into the music world. And she, I'm trying to think of how I would say that. She, I guess, would take me under her wing to a degree. She liked me and knew where I was at with the music and what I was desiring, and started just helping me out, you know, kind of meeting me in the middle, giving me different opportunities. The reason I got to go play with Cash Creek and R.T. Johnson and Megan Mullins this 2 weeks ago in Nashville was all Miss Jana. And that just goes to show you how being good to people the way you would want to be treated, and being fortunate enough to meet that type of person, don't take any of it for granted. I can promise you that, because somebody like that can make so much happen for you with little effort. You know, I mean, she's done a lot for me. I mean, she's even put my EPK together to help me, because I told her I was about ready to throw my phone, laptop, the whole nine. I couldn't get it to do what I wanted it to do. And so she giggled at me and she made it for me, you know, and she's helped me book shows. And I owe a lot to Miss Jana Johnson. She's a very dear family friend to me and my family. And we love having her. I can't wait to get her back to Fort Payne, Alabama again.
Well, that's very nice. That was Jana Johnson from Let's Talk Music Promotions. So you got to give her a shout out, because she's the one that put us together. All right. Well, as we're winding this thing down, any other shout outs, any other avenues you want to explore? Tell people about some shows. Hopefully, as we're breaking out of this coronavirus thing, you got some shows coming up, or anything. What's on the horizon for Levi Abney?
Yeah, we're trying to get some shows right. It's really hard to book right now because of this corona stuff. I'm hoping this stuff will fade off and kind of leave us alone for a while, or at least for good, honestly. But I've been doing a lot of little local stuff in Fort Payne, Alabama. But I've got February 6th. Another good friend of mine. I'll digress just a second to tell you this. She Amanda Gilley. Miss Marilyn Hups and her husband Gene, and a few other folks that went to, they came to Fort Payne, Alabama, and stayed just outside of Fort Payne in Mentone. Had a cabin for New Year's, and for the holidays they were here visiting and stuff like that. They love to come here, huge Alabama fans, and that's how I met them as well, through the Cooks, and just really great people. And we weren't going to get to connect, it didn't look like. Well, New Year's Day, I made a point and made a plan with them. I went to their cabin that they rented. I set up one speaker and sat down on a stool with my guitar, and I played for about an hour to them. Just sat there and played music for them. And one of the funnest experiences I've ever had, just getting to cut up with them and seeing how they genuinely appreciated what I was doing, made me love it even more to be able to. Yeah. You know, that's what it's all about in itself. But when I did that, one of the ladies there, her name was Amanda Gilley. And lo and behold, just kind of like Miss Jana, you never know who you're going to meet and when you meet them and how it's going to transpire. But she went back home. She lives in Florida, and booked me 2 days later, I think it was, for the B Street Market Festival, I think it's called, in Tampa, which is in Florida. So I'm actually going there I'm the showcase artist there, February 6th. And that's all thanks to Miss Amanda Gilley on that particular venue. And it just goes to show you, you know, I mean, you meet so many people along the way, and I'm beyond blessed to have met the people that like me enough and think enough of me to help me, you know.
Absolutely. And I noticed on your website that you put it down that Amanda Gilley put, I'm so excited to have Levi Abney from Fort Payne, Alabama, as our music showcase artist at our February 6th B Street, right there on your website, man. At your, you know, that's the place to be.
enough. It's just awesome opportunities like that. Something I would have never even been able to had a shot for, even known about, really, all the way in Florida down there. So it just awesome. Right now, the Miss Amanda Gilley, Miss Marilyn and her family, there's just so many people. My main shout out would have to go to Miss Jana Johnson. She has literally opened a ton of doors for me personally here lately. Not only myself, but several other artists that I know. And just that she's just that type of just a genuine, big-hearted person that loves music and is doing everything she can do to help people like me achieve their dreams. And I don't even have the words to thank somebody or her for doing what she does.
Well, Levi Abney, I just met you and I already like you, man. So, it's good to get to know you, and I hope this is not the last time that we chat. As things progress, maybe a year down the line, you got anything else to promote? Man, you come on back and we'll chit chat some more. But
I'd love.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate it. I really do. When I get these new songs ready to cut loose or get them cut out there, I'll get back with you for sure, buddy. I enjoyed talking with you.
Yeah, and I got RadioWhat.com sitting there right next to me, so I'd be happy to play them on my internet radio and put them out to the world, tweet them out there, and let people listen to them. But usually I finish these things off with last words for the people. This could be words to live by that you heard a long time ago, or somebody told you along the way, maybe a mantra that you wake up with every morning, or it could just be whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Levi Abney, last words for the people.
Never give up. Stay driven. If you want it, go for it. There's no such thing as you can't. You just can't hardly. And be good to people. Be good to people. Be big-hearted. Stay humble. And just always treat people like you'd want to be treated. Put that smile on and go have fun. Enjoy what you're doing. If you enjoy what you're doing, let everybody see you're enjoying it. And that the aura is what it takes. And you'll make a lot of friends along the way. Stay in touch with them. Don't ever outgrow your britches, if you know what I mean by that. Don't forget where you come from. If you ever do get big enough or lucky enough to have something happen for you, don't forget how you got there. Remember everybody, and you'll go far in life. That's for sure.
Well, there you have it, party people. Levi Abney. What a nice guy. See, there's proof. You be nice to people, they're going to be nice to you. It all comes back. I called it karma in the beginning of the podcast, but you can call it what you want. Just be good to people, and they'll be good to you. And don't be good to people just because they'll be good to you. Just be good to people. Be a nice guy. Try to be the best person you could be. I mean, he lucked out. He moves over to Alabama and meets Jeff Cook. Yeah, Mr. Alabama himself, and goes to work in the castle. What? Jealous much? All right, don't be jealous of people. Just keep working hard, and you'll get the things you want. Okay? Be like Levi Abney. Hey, it was good talking to him. This is the first time I ever got to meet him. That was fantastic. All right, party people. Now I'm turning my attention to you, would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.